Greetings and salutations, viewers. I'm StarPrincessHLC, and welcome back to Cupid. When we last left off, we got a little bit more into the friendship, I guess, between Rosa and the Marquis. Talking more about Catherine, and still some questions there. He gave us a locket that cannot be opened, but we're using some kind of witchcraft candle system to see what it is that he may be hiding concerning Catherine's death. And now the second candle is lit. Its name is Philia. The love for friends. So no one told you life was gonna be this way. I could sing the whole song if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. The yellow candle shone and danced with her breath. Let this candle burn until its wick is spent. Encourage friendship. Bring forth memories. Let me walk in his halls without any suspicion. That sounds slightly dirty. Let me rummage through his belongings invisibly. Again, it sounds dirty. His journal. He guards his journal fiercely. I must find it. Okay. Rosa adjusted her coat as she sat on one of the reserved seats. You're wearing the exact same outfit you wore to Catherine's grave. Interesting. The theater was packed. The air buzzed with excitement. She hadn't realized as many people would come tonight. Oh, Mother, I wish they would stop staring at me. And why not? This was Madame Catherine Paredes's first solo concerto. Her name had been slowly gathering recognition the past few years. It was feasible to expect a full house. So again, we're in another flashback where Catherine's still alive. Still, the turnout was more than they had expected. Paris had taken Rosa and Catherine by surprise. The sheer number of people and their liveliness were well above the usual sights of their small town. Catherine was obviously thrilled with the opportunity to play in such an esteemed venue for her debut. Rosa tried her best to keep her anxiety under control. This was for Catherine. Yes, for her. This was her night. Rosa took a deep breath and released it slowly. It relaxed her. I hope the show starts soon. Rosa's eye drifted towards the stage, and then to the throng of people gathered on her far left. In the middle of the huddle stood a familiar shape of a man. He had his back to her, but the posture and the build were unmistakable. It was a Guillaume. That is Guillaume. Called it. Her heart made a sudden, gleeful jump. She was delighted that she had made it to Catherine's show. He had been traveling extensively recently. What if she walked over and made sure? Guillaume would greet her kindly. She was sure Catherine would be thrilled to know he was here. And he is paying for her lessons. Rosa pondered for a bit, reminded of a sudden wince of pain. Soon the master of ceremonies obliged people to take their seats. Guillaume turned round and walked towards her. He stopped midway and took a seat without noticing her presence. He's probably playing up because, he has to have some bit of, performance to this, if you could say. He's got to keep up appearances. Rosa seemed deep in thought. What's wrong, sweetheart? Is something bothering you? Nothing, Mother. Don't lie to me. I am in your head. I know what's going on in there, young lady. I also know about the magazines under your bed. I just didn't expect to see him here. That's all. Oh, I see. It's the same problem, isn't it? Are you worried about Catherine now that he's here? That filthy man again. I'm sure Catherine will be pleased. Whatever will she think now that her lover is back? I bet she would rather spend all her time with him as usual. My poor darling, always running after her star. I wonder how long until she's tired of you constantly tagging along. You bragged to me that you share everything like sisters. Does that include Guillermo too? Mama's a bitch, and very, very questionable. Because, you know, in the past she was like, let's do this for Catherine, destroy him from the inside for Catherine. But here she seems to be almost like, Catherine's going to abandon you for him. Yes, she is. Oh, I can just see it. You will be mine, all mine. I don't trust Mommy dearest. Oh, you are making your life so complicated, darling. Why do you even bother yourself with these people? It is obvious he is never going to look at you. Do you like being so miserable? It saddens me to see you like this. He has eyes only for Catherine. Must you always impose your presence like a little dog? This is what we would call emotional abuse. It's not like that, Mother. We're friends. Friends? Darling, friendship is nothing but a shallow kind of relationship. People change friends as easily as the weather. You don't even remember the friends you make at a certain age. Family is more important. I'm the only one who will care for you forever, darling. A mother's love will endure. This bond can never be broken by time or absence. Family lifts you up. It saves. Of course you feel this way. You see them often. But when you lose touch, you are left with nothing but a collection of strangers. And believe me, my dear, they will leave. They always leave. You amuse them now, but soon they will abandon you too. Rose's tongue felt bitter in her mouth. She was filled with annoyance for her mother. Wasn't happiness as fleeting as friendship? Yes, it was not any less real than sadness. Yes, family was important. These familial bonds kept her from losing herself. It was her rock, her foundation. But were these bonds the only constant value? These friends, these were people who accepted her. They shared laughter and tears, their own regrets and dreams. In her heart, she had found a home with them. What more was needed? Rose's confused feelings began to arrange themselves neatly in her mind. Guillermo and Catherine's happiness was important to her. That was the main thing. She knew they felt the same way for her. Her insecurities were real, but they were insignificant. If anything, they were bittersweet. She had no regrets. For the first time in her life, she wanted to talk back to Mother. She bit her lip, quelling the nerves as she opened her mouth to speak. I know that. What? I know that Catherine matters more to him than I do. I know they might abandon me one day for whatever reason. It might be today or next year, or even sooner. But that doesn't matter in the long run. I am happy with them. We've had years together that I will treasure. Like I treasure memories of you too, Mother. My memories of you keep me sustained. That is why I love you. The years we spent together, no matter how fleeting, are still worth something. So let me care for them right now. Everything changes, but nothing is lost. Rosa was sure she had read it somewhere. Rosa waited for Mother to answer with a vicious voice, but to burst out screaming at her cheekiness. But no voice came. Rosa smiled to herself. The lights dimmed. A low hush descended on the pews. Quiet on the set! Soon Catherine entered, clad in the loveliest gown and an even lovelier smile. She was beautiful. She belonged on the stage. The lights shone on her, but they paled in comparison to her radiance. Catherine bowed to the audience and took a seat in front of the piano. She began to play. It would be nice if we could see it. Ooh, pretty. I'm guessing I can click here then. Yep. Rosa gripped the handle of her seat. She felt surges of emotion with every note. Whoa! Okay, that picked up in fervor. A kind of energy passed through her, touching her skin and making her break into goosebumps. Oh, Catherine! Rosa hadn't known of such an effect before this moment. Music that could so strike the heart, as if it was fiddling with the soul. It was different from practice, different from when she was performing in front of smaller groups. This was a stage, and here was a woman with strings. She was tugging the right keys, touching your heart and electrifying your soul. Rosa realized she wasn't alone in this feeling. The whole room was mesmerized. She looked at the lady beside her seat. She had her hand to her open mouth. A teardrop dangled precariously on her eye. The man to her left seemed to have forgotten to blink. Rosa beamed and savored a rush of kinship with them. They were experiencing the same emotions with her. It made her love them just a little bit. Rosa closed her eye and savored the night. Well, she only has one eye, right? A bead of sweat fell from Catherine's chin. She was out of her body now. Her stress from the beginning of the show had thawed and turned into passion. It ran down her fingers to the keys. It did not escape Catherine's notice that most people in the crowd came to the show to gawk at her. Catherine Paredes, the one of the famous Marquis de Gull, had been courting for years. Didn't he pay for this event? Lucky broad. Catherine Paredes, I heard she was some pianist. Any good? Who knows? Must be. If even the Marquis is chasing her. Catherine Paredes, some female pianist. Pretty face, nice flush on her. Let us watch her show. Her fingers caressed the keys, playing them with the force of her heart. Did she play to prove them wrong? Her music saturated the theater with her fervor. No, not to prove them wrong, to set it right. Catherine Paredes is my name. I am more than just a pretty face. And I am playing this piece for you. It is my gift. Let me touch your soul. Whoa! Rosa felt her eye get moist. This was Catherine's heart transcribed into music. All energy and beauty with the strength of the wind. The mischief of a sudden gale that whips at her lady's skirt and tips gentlemen's hats. The cold breeze that carried the loneliness of the coming winter. Everyone in the audience felt it. Rosa searched for Gammy's face in the darkness. She couldn't see him clearly, but it didn't matter. She knew what he was feeling. She felt it too. Rosa's heart began to ache. It was a sting that she didn't know how to name. After the show, Rosa greeted Catherine in her backstage dressing room. Oh wow, she looks like her sister now. It's kind of eerie. She was smothered in flowers from the audience. Sweat glistened on her forehead. Catherine gave her a tight hug. Congratulations, Kath. You were marvelous on stage. Thank you, Rosie. Catherine covered her cheeks with her hands. I'm still shaking. The excitement from the stage hasn't left. Look at my hands. Oh dear. So I would call the show a success, yes? Pour the champagne, Sherry. It's a night to remember. Catherine and Rosa hugged again. Let me just finish up here, Rosa. Then we'll celebrate properly. Two young, ravishing ladies sampling the best of what Paris has to offer. I like it. Rosa laughed. Just don't let go of my hand. You might get lost being so starry-eyed. She was teasing, but smiling brightly all the same. I would never. Anyway, shall I meet you outside in a few minutes? Very well. I'll see you later. Rosa was thankful to leave the backstage area. She'd almost forgotten her anxiety during the show, but the backstage was an ill reminder of the crowd. She looked forward to the night ahead, wondering vaguely why she hadn't mentioned Guillerme's presence to Kath. She shrugged it off. It had simply slipped her mind, that was all. Catherine went back to her dressing room, humming as she was about to grab her coat. She wasn't the least bit tired. Well, I would say not. That would probably get the endorphins buzzing, wouldn't it? Visions of city, exploring new sights, and gaining experiences made her giddy with excitement. It will end the night on the bed note, or best note. I don't know why I said bed note. Maybe that'll be later, who knows? She was sure. A small knock interrupted her thoughts. Who's there? Catherine turned around, and the cheerful smile froze on her face. The Marquis peeked from the open door and stepped inside. Hello, Kath. A tingling passed through Catherine's neck. Why her neck? You think it would be the other area, farther down. Just saying. Although she was aware he had returned, this was the first time she'd seen him in 2 years. After she rebuked his intentions of wooing her. Catherine shook her head at the memory. They grew up together. It was normal to develop feelings for someone you shared most of your life with, was it not? Yet Catherine had promised herself not to dabble with the Marquis. With all the rumors and the past flings, not to mention, the affair with her sister that she accidentally killed with her piano. It felt like she knew too much. Too complicated, she had reasoned. The rumors were still alive in some circles. But hadn't Guillerme come clean with his romantic escapades? Hadn't he vowed to be faithful since he had made his intentions clear? Who to believe? Perhaps it was possible that Catherine pushed away the insinuation of that last thought and rearranged her face into a merry smile. She curtsied. My Lord Marquis, thank you for coming. That last bit came out too loud in her ears. It felt like her voice was compensating. She suppressed a groan. I hope you found the show satisfactory. My Lord Marquis, what happened to Gary Monster? At once the memories flooded her mind. That used to be her greeting every time she had visited him back then. She would scream that when she saw him, right before she flung her arms around his neck. Catherine didn't know what to do. Suddenly her hands, the hands that had never betrayed her, felt like they belonged to someone else. She cleared her throat and felt the smile hit hard on her face. Pardon my past slight, sire. I was a bit of a precocious child. After all, I must give my due respects to the sponsor of this event. Thank you, by the way. It didn't have to be so extravagant. Wasn't it your dream to play in Paris, Kath? I thought your debut would be the best opportunity to fulfill that dream. The Marquis stepped into her quarters and closed the door. Catherine flinched, afraid that the small room would draw them even closer. Just the effect that he wanted, probably, the sly fox. She floundered for a bit and contented herself in fussing with the flowers on the table. She should chase him out. Why wasn't she chasing him out? Probably because, she's got feelings for him, despite, what happened with her and her sister. Merede, Catherine. I didn't think you'd be attending tonight, sire. Weren't you traveling? Yes, I was. But I wouldn't miss your concert for the whole of France. Guillerme stepped forward. And it seems my investments were well placed. Guillerme drew closer to Catherine, so near that she could smell the mint in his breath. Oh, well, gee, I wonder why he took mint. Well, obviously, I guess because, going up to people would probably not be good if it's like fancy Marquis has fish breath, but usually I would think with mint it just means, make out with me. He appeared to reach out to her face, but changed direction at the last minute. Oh, these flowers are from the Duke. How pretty. He examined the card dangling a hair away from Catherine's ear, trying to look fascinated by the piece of decorative paper. Then he stepped back, grinning like an idiot. He really has great taste. Wherever did you learn that, muckhead? Oh my goodness. If he thought that kind of ploy would make her swoon, then he was dead wrong. In fact, all it made her want to do was wipe that stupid grin off his face. With the backside of the vase. Yes, he does, doesn't he? She grated her teeth, unable to take the acidic edge off her voice. It wouldn't be so hard. All she had to do was grab the neck of the expensive vase and fling it at his head. And then she would go to jail for murder. She wasn't sure if the vase would break. Maybe not. Maybe she would need to hit him again for the full effect. Catherine, did you hear what I just said? Huh? I said, now that I'm back in town, would you consider praying for me again? It was part of our original arrangement, after all. She felt the tendons in her neck tighten. Why her neck? Of all the places, why her neck? I have a full schedule this week, sir, but I'll let you know when I'm free. Oh. Sire, I must retire for the night. I am exhausted from my performance after all. Excuse me. Catherine turned around and went for her coat, but she felt Guillerme grab her hand. Wait, Awkward. They stared at each other for a couple of seconds. Guillerme looked like he was about to say something. His mouth opened and closed as if debating the correct words in his head. But he dropped Catherine's hand a moment later. I'm sorry. You're right. You must be tired. His shoulders dropped. Catherine felt a tinge of disappointment, but she ignored it quickly. Guillerme let out a sigh. You know, I'm not good at this, Catherine. Oh, what do I know? You seem to do just fine. You have an amazing track record. Huh? Catherine folded her arms over her chest with a pout. Oh, that. That is just because of my face. What? Most people think I am very deep and thoughtful when I stare at them like this. I just run with it. So, he's a phony! He's a big phony! Catherine bit her lip to prevent the chuckle from escaping, but the laughter burst out from her. He hadn't changed at all. Before she could stop herself, a mischievous smile appeared on her lips. No, actually, it is your inability to make big gestures, Gilly. Huh? Well, look at you. She copied his tight, alert posture. You stand stiff as a board. I guess it fools people into believing you are a graceful, dashing soul. Guillerme made a pout. I am dashing, though. Maybe. Au contraire, monsieur. I did have the misfortune of being victim to your dancing. Must you always bring that up? It was a long time ago. He looked so distressed that Catherine couldn't help but tease him further. I mourned the death of my little toe, sire. I liked that toe. It was a traumatic experience, probably more so than when I killed my sister with a piano. Before long they were laughing, like it was the most natural thing in the world. When did it change? Hadn't it always been like this? Catherine settled back into her own skin, mulling the confusion in her veins. Kath. She looked up at him. Her own emotions stung her. You can't keep running away from me. She sighed deeply. Her hands tightened around her resolve, for lack of a solid thing to hold on to. Perhaps not, but I have already given you an answer. I am aware. I have tried to accept it. Please don't take offense, but I thought it would be easy. I left to clear my head, to fill my mind with other things. Traveling usually does the trick. For a while at least I thought I was successful. But even during my trip, I would catch myself thinking such absurd things like, I wonder what Kath will say when she sees that. No, I don't think Catherine will like this too much. Well, Kath used to say. It was funny, but also a little infuriating to know. Sorry, love makes me tongue-tied. A little infuriating to know that you have never left my mind. See, love, it is twisting my tongue like a snake. So I wish I knew how to do this. He sighed. I am too used to people leaving me, that I do not know how to quit on my own. It must bother you, the amount of lovers I had in the past. I am sorry for that. I almost wish I really was that adept. But, like I've told you, most was simply rumors. My sister wasn't a rumor. The rest were people realizing I am not as interesting as they had initially thought. Guillaume? They never stay long, Kath. One could say I am amazing with first impressions. There is a nagging feeling that that's all I am ever good for. A sort of exotic trophy people like to collect for its sake, and then put aside when its novelty expires. I can't blame them. By now I am quite sure that I am what is wrong. I must be better at letting people go. But you, please don't make me let go. You see through me, Kath. In your eyes, I feel like I'm somebody worth loving. Is it any wonder I'd like to continue thinking of you fondly? Old habits die hard, I suppose. Catherine bit her lip. Those are impressive words, sire, but do you have a point? My point? It's simple, really. I don't think I'll be able to stop my feelings for you. You may reject me as many times as you wish. It will not change. I have already come to the conclusion that I don't mind. He shrugged. So, I propose that you either get used to me chasing you, or you give in to my dashing, toe-smashing charms. Catherine chuckled despite herself. Or I could just kill you with the Duke's fashionable vase. Please do not give my superior the pleasure. I would rather you rip my heart out of my chest and offer it as a dark sacrifice to the gods. My God, you are a dramatic man. Glory. Very poetic, dashing points for you. You think so? I've been reading a lot of romance novels lately. Oh, he must be desperate. What kind of romance novels are you even talking about? I figure I must learn to be more suave to make the lady of my dreams swoon. Is it working? Catherine laughed. Hardly. I believe this is how they do it in the big finale. Guillaume cleared his throat and knelt down on one knee. Is he proposing even though they're not actually dating? He took Catherine's hand awkwardly, trying to act as natural as he could. His serious face made Catherine burst out laughing. Que folie! What in the world are you doing, idiot? Stop laughing, madame. I must try this at least once. I'm simply concerned for an older gentleman and his knee. Will you be able to stand up from that position later, given your obvious grace? Guillaume chuckled. Terrible. Dare you call me an old man? I don't look my age, do you know? Sure, sure. Oh, stop laughing, will you? I am trying to concentrate. He cleared his throat again. Will Mademoiselle Catherine Paredes allow me an audience tonight? As such, perhaps she might allow me to stay by her side for a while longer. It would make me a very happy man. It was sappy and ridiculous, and yet hearing the words did stir Catherine's heart. They were giggling like fools now, like children, her heart heavy with love for him. Love? Did she just think love? Of course she did. She had always loved him. Why was she fighting her feelings again? The reason seems unclear all of a sudden. All right, sire, your gallantry has convinced this lady to accept your offer for tonight. She bowed with an exaggerated curtsy. Guillerme took her hand theatrically as he stood up. This gentleman is relieved he didn't have to sing. A few rules for tonight. As we are in Paris, you must be on your best behavior. No embarrassing jokes like making friends with the street mimes. Agreed. As such, I must retire by 8. 10. 8. 9:30. 9. Take it or leave it. Guillerme grumbled, but Catherine just chuckled at his frustration. Fine. 9:15 it is. Sire, I meant 9 sharp. Guillerme's face brightened like a little boy's. Oh, I know where we can go. There is a quaint little piazza just south of here. They have a breathtaking view of the city. They're on a hill, you see. I know the owner personally, so we're already guaranteed the best seats. And they serve their best pomme de terre gratinée. If that's even how you pronounce it, I have no idea. Gratin again? If you continue eating that every opportunity you get, soon there'll be no potatoes left in all of France. Catherine sighed. Why must he be so? This better not be a game like all your other flings, sire. I deserve to be treated like more than a prize. I am not a prize to be won. But Catherine watched Guillerme's face beam as he talked about that little house on the hill. How, when the weather's perfect, the stars would soak the sky. She giggled to herself with fondness. What a dolt. A night in Paris, and he would rather eat cheese potatoes. Well, there's no French fries. It was just like him to pick the stars instead of the city, wasn't it? It pleased her to know that she adored the side of him that others did not see. But was this the real him? Did she really see through him like he said? Or was his face he put on for her sake, like most flirts could? It was then she had been watching this face since she was a little girl. From awe to admiration, from friends to lovers, they had seen the best and worst of each other through the years. Surely there was something to that. Surely it couldn't all be a lie. Right? I'm sorry, I got carried away. Shall we go? Yes. Catherine grabbed her coat, and Guillerme took her purse. Oh, I almost forgot Rosa is waiting outside. Then let us hurry and meet up with her. I haven't seen her for a long time. I missed her too. It will be a treat to spend the evening with 2 esteemed ladies. She'll be thrilled to see you. Just like old times, us 3. Yes. She slipped her hand on his arm nonchalantly and caught Guillerme's smile to herself. Or himself, I guess. At the very least, let that smile be real. Whoa! Okay, that was a jump. That was quite a way to cut into a new area.